All right, so welcome back to another episode of Taking Lunch with Korben London, where I spend about 30 minutes on my lunch break talking with people who haven't, quote, made it yet, but are on their way. My guest this week is AJ Greene, former college athlete. Now he's on the hunt to be an NFL athlete, and he also somehow became TikTok famous along the way. AJ, what up?
What's going on, man?
How you doing? I think honestly the best way to really get into it is I want to narrate a video of yours that you posted a while back that kind of explains your journey and where you are right now. So I'm gonna just get right into it. I'm sure you've seen and heard about this a million times, but I'm gonna just jump in. Is that cool?
Yeah, of course.
All right. So this I'm assuming this is you in high school. It says I had 0 stars and 0 offers in high school. I only had 2 catches my junior year, 1 touchdown, and my coach and my teammates said I wasn't good enough. I was a standout at every camp and showcase that I went to. Still no offers. I wasn't able to showcase my talents at my current high school, so I transferred. In 2 games, I proved to be one of the best in New York, and I won the NFF trophy, which is the best wide receiver in Suffolk County. I went all state. We went undefeated and won the championship. I signed to a Division I college and was playing as a true freshman. After only 1 season on the team, I was arrested and kicked off the team. Transferred to Nassau Community College, 18 credits in the summer, 27 credits in the fall, 6 credits in the winter, and you graduate with a 4.0. But you still had to make some court appearances, and no D1 schools are interested in you. So you accepted a scholarship to a D2 school in Connecticut. You became an all-region long jumper in track. You created a more positive image of yourself, and you were named offensive MVP of a bowl game. And then here we are now. So,
Yeah.
I mean, like, where, like, talk about when you put that video out. I mean, obviously it was towards the end of your journey, but was that out of confidence? Was that out of cockiness? Were you just optimistic? Like, what was your mindset when you put that out?
Well, no, leading up to the draft, obviously the emotions were getting high. Just look like thinking back to myself, just reflecting on my past, thinking like, wow, I really came from a lot. And then I told my trainer about the story, and then obviously I spoke to my agent about the story, and I was just speaking to my parents, speaking to my friends about it, and some of my friends convinced like, bro, like your story is inspirational. You should share that with other people. He's like, a lot of people are dealing with things and they feel like the world is against them because like obviously, when I go through things, I'm a very private person in terms of I'm an introvert. So when I deal with things, I like to deal with them behind closed doors and not, go tell 6, 7 different people about what I'm dealing with. So when I finally did open up to them, people were like, wow, I had no idea you were dealing with that. I would have never known. So then I decided to share it because I started meeting other people that, went through similar situations. They were reaching out to me, bro. Like, I thought it was just me. Like, I thought this was God telling me this wasn't meant for me. Like, it's cool to see somebody else that was basically at the bottom so many different times and kept finding their way back up. So it was great seeing their, hearing their what's the word I'm looking for? Uh, I guess reactions to
Mm-hmm.
it. It was great hearing their reactions and how it inspired them to keep going. So that was the main reason I put it out there, just to remind people that they're not alone whenever they're feeling, like the pressure's getting too high.
And then when you put that out, in a sense, you kind of became a role model to other college athletes who were going through the same thing, high school kids, young
Yeah.
kids. While you were going through some stuff, and you were saying you're introverted and you felt pressure and stuff like that. Were you prepared to all of a sudden now be this guy that was supposed to have all the
No.
answers?
Not at all. It's funny. I was just talking to one of my best friends about it like last week. He was like, because like he got off Instagram for like maybe 2 years, and he just came back on Instagram, and he's like, bro, like social media is so distracting, and he's like, I don't know how you do it. And I'm like, bro, honestly, like I was starting to love it. He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, bro, like every day, people are asking me questions that I would never even thought about. And so it allowed me to see other people's perspectives and hear other people's situations. A lot of times when I wake up in the morning, sometimes I might not be motivated. And I'll just start reading some of the DMs people are sending me. And as I'm giving them advice, I'm also giving it back to myself. I'm basically telling them, like, bro, like, whatever you're going through, if you want it bad enough, you're going to get up and you're going to go do it. And after I respond, I'm like, you know what? I got to do the same thing. So, like, I'll get
Right.
up and go get it. So, it's like, I definitely at the time I definitely wasn't ready for all the questions and people wanted advice, but then at the same time it helped me giving them that advice.
Okay, I mean that's good to hear. And did you at any point did it bother you that someone may look at you as AJ Green, the TikToker, and not AJ Green, the football player? Does that bother you?
No, it actually does. It does more so when it first was happening more than it does now. Like when it first was happening, I'm like, no, stop. Like I'm a football player, you know. So and then when the draft came and went after my pro day got canceled, now everyone's like, so now when new people were finding me, after that story, when they started finding me for my actual TikTok videos, some of them had no clue I play football. So they're like, oh, he's a TikToker. I'm like, wait, whoa, hold on. Like, no, don't get that. I'm a football player that just happens to be on TikTok. Don't confuse the two. So no, it definitely did become pretty upsetting. And then obviously when things were going on with Juju dancing on the logos and
Right.
people were clowning him for that, it became a thing of that too. Now everyone started looking at all football players on TikTok. Oh, they're not serious. I'm like, whoa, hold on. Like stop confusing that. So no, it definitely does frustrate me a little bit when people think I'm just a TikToker that wants to play football. When in actuality, I'm a football player that's just on TikTok, just like everybody else is on TikTok. I'm the same thing, So, that's the answer to that one.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, this isn't even about TikTok. I mean, we could care less about that. It's just more so about your journey, and I actually have right here. I wrote down from Draft Diamond your sort of draft review that they gave you. You probably already read this, but it says Jelani AJ Green has all the tools to be a day one starter. He has the size, the speed, the hands, and the route runner to be a very solid receiver in the league. But the only negative is that you went to a small school. And in my book, that shouldn't even matter. If you're gonna say you got the size, the speed, and the talent, school, right, where you play ball shouldn't matter that much. So it seems like you've been kind of doubted or like counted out throughout your life just because of where you went to school. Is that right?
That's correct. That's very correct. And at the same time, I do understand it in a sense, only because I know that that's how the scouts are thinking. A lot of people say, if you could play football, they're gonna come find you. But at the same time, I do understand, if you see a guy like me, my size, my speed, at Alabama, doing the things that he's doing against Alabama competition, and when then you see a Division II kid doing those things, it's like, which one am I gonna trust a little bit more? You know what I mean? Like
Right.
the Alabama kid might be a little more transferable in your mind. So I definitely understand that.
I'm assuming when they put it's one on one coverage, you know what I'm saying. You're out there playing. You know you're the man, right? You know you're the guy, regardless of what stage that you're on. How did you kind of keep a level head of like I'm nice, but like I don't have all the cameras on me right now.
It didn't matter to me. It really didn't matter to me because at the same time, playing football is football. At the end of the day, I don't know how familiar you are with my story, but I played at Division I, I played at community college, I played Division II. In high school when I was training with your brother down in Jersey, Minka Fitzpatrick, guys in the NFL now, we're all down there. So I've seen almost all of the levels of competition, and it's not that much different when it comes down to it. When it comes down to me versus you, it's not that much different whether I'm in the SEC or whether I'm in the NE10. So when I line up in front of you, I'm just trying to beat you, get the ball, help the team. So yeah, that it doesn't matter to me when it comes down to it.
Hey, I mean that's a good way to look at it, and that's kind of applicable to outside of sports too, in competition, in any job, any field, whatever it may be. If it's me against you, I'm gonna try to get the job done, regardless of any of these external factors, or if I woke up and had a bad day, or my computer is running slow, or something like that. Sounds like at the end of the day, you just got to put the work in.
Exactly. We all get the same 24 hours. What are you gonna do with that? So that's how I look at that. I don't care what the logo says.
And then you talked a little bit about going through this journey, kind of like feeling the pressure, and you had a lot of adversity and stuff like that. How did you, as a man, as a person, kind of battle, them demons, or battle like the obstacles, battle the L's, like outside of football, just from a mental standpoint? How can someone else in life who's going through things, who maybe the odds might be stacked up against them, how do they kind of navigate through their troubles and get on the right path?
Okay, so what a thing that I do that seems to work for me is I think about the bigger picture in terms of where I want to be 2 years from now. Everything else, because everything, I'm a big believer in everything that I do now is a direct reflection of where I'm at 2 years from now. So when I'm dealing with something, if it's hurting me and I let it hurt me and I just sit there feeling bad for myself, in 2 years I'm being in that same position. Whereas if I'm in a position that's hurting me, however I choose to flip that script and change that narrative, that's where I'm going to be. Last year when I missed that opportunity with the NFL, I changed that. So okay, now I have the attention. So now let me try to build some kind of platform, some kind of brand from that. And that's exactly what I did. So that's how I look at adversity. I look at it like whatever I do right now is gonna set me up later, whether that's positive or negative. So that's how everyone has to look at that.
Battle and adversity. Yeah, I think. I mean, how old are you? How old are you?
I'm 22.
So I'm 23. So you're younger than me, and you've been through 10 times more stuff or whatever than I have. And I think everyone kind of faces that adversity in different ways. And that's kind of why I wanted to start this up. Is like, yeah, you're a football player. Yeah, you're gonna make it to the league and do all these big things. But at the end of the day, like you said, we all have the same 24 hours, right? When we hop off this, you got stuff and responsibilities to fulfill, and so do I. So I mean, it's good to hear that when you have that adversity, you gotta be able to look at the bigger picture, kind of as you were saying, and think that if you feel sorry for yourself today, it sounds like you're saying you already lost the battle.
Exactly. That's exactly what it is. If you could fight for something for so long, and you might get it, and you might not. But if you stop fighting for it, you know your answer. You're not gonna get it. You know what I mean? So every day you gotta just keep doing it, hope that it pays off.
Right. Okay. And then so let's take it back to last year when COVID hit. So, you transferred high schools in high school to get more looks. You went to one school, had to go to a JUCO, had to go to another school. Now it's finally here. Your name's on the draft board. The articles are coming out about you. It feels like it's almost real. Then COVID hits and that shuts everything down. Talk about like the moment that you knew that your pro day was canceled, or that you knew that like things were going, like, talk about that moment.
I'm gonna be brutally honest. I cried. I cried because in the back of my mind, I knew it was over with for that year. I knew without a pro day, because when I was at that National Bowl and scouts were talking to me, they all wanted to see that 40. They all wanted to come see me in that setting. When I got canceled, I knew that was it. I haven't got a single call after that. The scouts that were in touch with me all dropped off because obviously they had to go rechange, they had to go rethink their strategy. I knew it was over with. And at that point, my story was basically already kind of fresh in people's minds. Now, a lot of them didn't understand how not having a pro day was going to hurt a small school player.
Right.
So now they're all, hey, when do you go to the NFL? When do you go to the NFL? I'm like, I would love to give you an answer. No. So at the same time, it was also that added voice in my head of them asking, when do you go to the NFL? I'm like, I don't know. But that was it. Once I knew that pro day was out the window, I had to go back to the drawing board. And I just kept training, hoping that a call would come. And then when the draft came and went, it crushed me. I'm like, for a good day or two, I didn't want to do anything. I got up in the morning, I brushed my teeth, and get right back in bed. I eat breakfast, get right back in bed. And it was kind of just like, what do I do now? My whole life, I was getting up to go train because I knew I had another opportunity coming up. Now I didn't know. I always had practice to look forward to. I always had lift to look forward to. Now I'm like, okay. Now what? That's literally what it was. Like, now what? I graduated college. I'm in the real world, and now I'm not even sure if I'm gonna have a profession. So it was really just back to the drum board. I had to figure it out.
And you're still grinding right now though too. Like you say, it crushed you, right? You didn't get the call on draft day. You couldn't do the pro day, but here you are still today. I mean, you just ran a pro day at South Carolina. Talk about one. How'd you do? Like, did you do well?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Of course. I mean, I went out there. I went out there to run routes.
Okay.
Route running is one of the best parts of my game. So that's something I really take pride in. So knowing I had the opportunity to go run routes, I had to take pride in that.
And then what type of restrictions did the pandemic put on you in terms of whenever, after the draft last year, when you picked yourself up and you're like, all right, like it's not over, right? I still got to keep grinding.
Yeah.
How difficult was it for you to keep grinding, knowing that maybe you couldn't go inside the gym or you had to wear a mask while working out and maybe you couldn't breathe? Like, what were some of those challenges?
Yeah, no, well, wearing a mask in the gym doesn't bother me that much, but it was more so getting into the gym. The gyms were still closed until about August. So, you're doing the home workouts, the push-ups, went to Walmart, bought some bands. So you're doing the YouTube kind of workouts, you Google at home workouts, you're doing those. You're in the back. I'm in the backyard doing cone drills, lag drills. But so, the working out wasn't that difficult. It would have just been nice, being able to go power clean, go bench press, go back squat. It would have been nice to do that, but it wasn't that much different. Work is work.
Okay. And then when did it sort of things open up? I don't know, like where you are, where you've been throughout the pandemic, but when did things sort of open up? And then did your mindset flip? Like, all right, like it's on now, or was your mind were you already on stay ready so I don't have to get ready type of mindset?
Like I said, like 1 or 2 days after the draft was my kind of like my in denial phase of like I can't believe that just happened. That once that hit, I was okay, pick myself up, let's get back to work. So it was kind of like after that moment, okay, I got to get ready for the next opportunity because I'm like, because I felt like one way or another, I'm still young. I didn't redshirt in college. I played all straight through all 4 years. There's guys that redshirted 2 times, got hurt, did a grad year somewhere else. There's guys that are 24 finally making their way to the league, and then I'm 22 years old. I'm still healthy. I'm still young. And at the end of the day, like I said, I didn't play at Bama. So now I felt like I had that redshirt year to get myself
During COVID.
prepared. So I'm like, you know what? If I didn't get it this year, I'm gonna just use that redshirt year I never got and use this whole year to get myself ready in better shape for next year. So that's what happened.
And then throughout this past year, I mean, I think that's a great way to put it. Is that this was your redshirt year? And for
Oh,
those who don't know, how college sports work. Usually, when you show up, especially football, when you're 17, 18 years old, you might be too small or whatever it may be to play. So you'll redshirt, which means that you don't play. You spend that year obviously working out, getting bigger, faster, stronger, and then you still have 4 more years to play after it. Now, since you didn't redshirt, right, you came in young buck, wild, and ready to go,
yeah.
and now so it almost sounds like, and this is a crazy thing to say, but like the shutdown of the pandemic was almost a blessing for you in a way
What?
to really slow things down and to get on top of your game.
That was exactly what happened. That within that 2 days, people asked. I had good people in my life, good positive people to smack some sense into me. Like, bro, like think about literally exactly what you said. Like, bro, this is a blessing. Think about it. I'm like, bro, you didn't redshirt. You played straight through. I'm like, you could get so much stronger, so much faster within this year. So that next year, when you ready, you could hit the ground running next year. So it's like now I wasn't in school, so I didn't have to worry about doing classes, none of that. So I'm like, bro, I have all day now. Like, I have a complete open schedule to just focus on football now. So yeah, it definitely was a blessing in disguise.
That's awesome. That's good to hear. And I mean, it sounds like it all paid off with the pro day opportunity at South Carolina. How did that opportunity kind of present itself to you?
Okay, so the quarterback at South Carolina is signed to the same agent that I'm signed to.
Okay.
So it was a little bit easier to get my way into that one. But a week before that, I think it was March 10th, I had a pro day at Arkansas as well. Same scenario. The quarterback was signed to my agent, and I'm like, okay, this is two SEC pro days that I have the opportunity to get my foot into. So yeah, that was kind of just like my agent would hit me up like, "Yo, you ready?" I'm like, "I've been ready." You know what I mean? And that's why I'm saying I'm glad I kept working out because if it hadn't been a thing of him calling me, "Hey, I have an opportunity for you," and I'm like, "Hold on, wait, like, when is it? It's next week? Oh, hold on, I need a few more days." So it's like he called me. I was like, "Man, I have my bags packed tomorrow." So yeah.
And then when you talk to these scouts, because again they want to see you work out, they want to see you perform in the field, but they also want to know your character, the type of person you are, the type of man you are. When they say, what's the strongest thing about you? What's like the one thing about you that you're most prideful of, or that you're the most confident in outside of your football ability? What would you say that is?
I think my ability to always make something out of nothing. I feel like what I did in this past year is a perfect testament to that. My ability to take a missed opportunity and see the brighter side of it. A glass half full kind of thing. So I definitely think that's one of my greatest qualities. I have a different drive than most people do.
That's good to hear. And with pulling it back, not even the TikTok, but just like the content creation in general. While you don't want to be known as a TikToker or anything like that, what has being a content creator done for you in terms of? I mean, you've been on ESPN, you've been on Overtime. Has that opened up more doors for you that maybe probably wouldn't have been if no one knew your name?
Completely, completely. When I finally sat down and said, you know what, I'm gonna invest my time into TikTok. One of my first videos that I actually put effort into making and went viral, got posted on Overtime, Sports Illustrated, Bleacher Report, and then Sports Illustrated followed me. I remember the moment it popped up on my screen. I was, what the heck? I'm like, I double checked. I'm like, this is the Sport Illustrated. I'm like, I would have never thought they would have found me from me making jokes on the field by myself. You know what I mean? So no, TikTok definitely helped me meet people that I would have never. Well, I mean, not never, but people that I would have never thought came into my path that way. I've made connections with Sports Illustrated over time. Like I told you, Bleacher Report. I could casually have a conversation with them now and realize that there's a person behind this brand right
Right.
now, and I'm having a conversation with them. So it was cool. I started meeting people that started giving me a lot of advice that I didn't have access to.
And the content that you're putting out, like, I mean, it's spot on content. Like, if you anybody who's a football fan or whatever, I think one of my favorite ones is like the different people during runs, and it's like the guy who doesn't touch the line, or the one dude who's
Yeah,
always hurt, and he's cheering everybody on. Have you
yeah.
have you always been like a jokester, like a clown? Like, how do you put out content that millions of people can look at and say that I know exactly what he's talking about? Is that a talent? Is
Yeah.
that a gift? Like,
I mean, I think it came from, like I said, I played in a lot of different programs. So, when you see one person in high school doing something, like, oh, maybe that's just him. And then you go to one school and see it again. Maybe that's just him. Get to another school, it's like, so we all do this, huh? And then I've been noticing a lot of meme pages that'll post something that I relate to. And I thought I was the only one that did that. So then I started feeling like, you know what? Let me start like that was the video I was talking about. That was the first video I actually put effort into making, and that was a test. We don't know that. I just did that to see if anyone would relate to it. I'm pretty sure the caption was, "Can you relate to this?" Everyone was like, "Bro, I thought that was just me." So then I liked that reaction. It was funny. I'm like, this is so cool. I thought this was a just me thing. It turns out millions of people relate to this. So I did another one. It was similar reaction. I did another one in a different scenario, similar reaction. I'm
right.
like, oh, this is fun. I was having fun with it. I really was.
Now, a lot of athletes, they typically after their career, my brother was one of them. A lot of the guys, like Tony Romo, for example, Jason Witten, Randy Moss, after their career, they get into like the content and the broadcasting and stuff like that. Would you see yourself down the line being interested in that type of career, or is this just like for fun and games when you're bored?
Well, my freshman year of college, I was a communication major. I switched it now to psychology, but I was a communication major because I was interested in the camera work and being a sports commentator and being an analyst, reporter, those kinds of things, just because it was a way for me to stay close to the game while also being able to crack some jokes on the side. So I would definitely be interested in a career in that down the line.
That's fun to hear. And then so you just did the South Carolina Pro Day, and now is the time. A lot of other pro days are going on. Guys are getting evaluated and stuff like that. What's your current mindset right now? Every day when you wake up, because the time is here again, and this time, I mean, fingers crossed, COVID's not gonna restart and like re-shut everything down like it was before. So now that you've gotten, your journey, now you had that redshirt year, now you've gotten SEC Pro Days. Now what? Now where's your head at?
It's in the exact same spot, but now it's just accelerated because now it's here. It's right in front of me. So now I want to get even bigger, even stronger, even faster, so that when that call does come, I'm ready to step in with those guys.
Absolutely. Okay, absolutely. And the last thing, honestly, I want to ask you, I gotta get back to work. That's the whole thing about filming on the lunch break. Almost got to clock back in, but for a kid who has had a similar background as you, marginalized, minimized, doubted, whatever it may be, who maybe doesn't have a voice, right? Who maybe doesn't have the opportunity to speak up or to speak out. What do you say to them for how they can kind of get back on track and get their life rolling again?
I say just keep going. That's every time I say keep going. That's it. And when you let that ring in your head for a little while, it becomes deeper it becomes truly as deep as it is. Just keep going. Whatever happens, just keep going. If you're doing everything the right way, you're training the way you're supposed to, you're eating the way you're supposed to, you're sleeping and resting the way you're supposed to, keep going. If something knocks you up, keep going. You know, keep going. There's no secret recipe to becoming a good player. Find what you have to do to get better and keep doing it every day until one day you wake up and you realize I'm exactly where I want to be, and then you keep going from there. You just keep going.
Keep going. All right, AJ. Listen, I appreciate you for hopping on with me. I'm a big fan of yours. been following your career for a little while now, just through my brother and through social media. But I'm excited for you. I mean, you're putting it all together. I mean, you're sitting here dropping knowledge of a 50-year-old man, and you're 22 years old. We're young dudes, so good luck to you. Everything that's going on with you. I hope you get the phone calls that you want. I hope everything kind of falls in your way, because you're doing the right things, and you're a role model to a lot of people. And just keep going, bro. I'm on your side.
Thank you, thank you. I love what you're doing too. You really took the, you really taking the path right now. I know a lot of people say working 9 to 5, and then your 5 to 11 should be your real passion. So I love what you're doing in your lunch break, man. Keep doing what you're doing too.
Appreciate it. Absolutely, man. I'll let you get back to it. Thanks for coming on.
Have a good one, man.
Yeah, you too.